What's up, everybody? Welcome to JMac Sports Cards. My name is Jason. Thanks for tuning in to another one. Got a pretty cool panel of guests today. Cardhedger.com, where you can price cards. You can put your collection there, track prices along the way. So pretty neat. Pretty much have the whole team here. So I'll bring them on, and then we'll get into a discussion about their platform, about how long they've been in the hobby, about the hobby in general, and we'll just chat it up. So we'll bring you gents on. How y'all doing today?
What's going on, man?
Awesome.
All right, let's do a
Glad to be
round
here.
robin. What's up, man? Yeah, let's go. Let's do a round robin and just do a quick introduction so everyone knows who's who.
Yeah, absolutely. This is River. I'm the founder of Card Hedge originally, and just mostly do most of the technology stuff and business operations piece of Card Hedge. So, John, you want to go?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm JD. I do mainly our database of cards. I also handle some of the affiliate stuff that we do and whatever else needs to be done. We all wear multiple hats, but that's me in a nutshell. So thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, thanks for reaching out.
How you doing? You can call me Greg, short for Gregory. I handle our YouTube channel right now, and I do a lot of marketing, partnership, outreach, and like John said, we're really doing multiple hats, but fitting in what fits comfortable with us.
The weather looks nice. Is it nice out there?
It's getting there finally.
Yeah.
After a cold winter, the Northeast, the spring
Where
is
you
here.
at?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Because I see the leaves aren't there yet. The leaves are coming back here, and we're in the southeast here. I'm in Charlotte, so
Nice.
I'm headed south tomorrow, so I can't wait.
yeah, it's pretty nice. It's in the 70s today, so pretty nice.
Nice.
All right, so I guess I'll start with you, River. I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
get the origin story of Card Hedger. So yeah, how did it all begin?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the time. I appreciate it. I grew up in the 80s primarily, and I was a huge baseball fan. So I collected literally. I mean, that was my second job other than playing baseball itself. So played a ton of baseball, had a ton of baseball cards, sort of probably similar origin. Just in the card side is a lot of other people you probably know, maybe including yourself. And as you kind of grow up, I didn't grow out of it, but obviously when you go to college and then you sort of get into that, you sort of step away for a little bit. But I continued to collect here and there. And then, I had always collected like comics and cards sporadically. I sort of like to hoard certain things anyways. So I'm one of those type of people. At least things that I find that have some sort of value. And in 2020, it was more previous to that a little bit. 2019, started getting back into cards heavily, and there was sort of like there weren't a lot of options from a like collection management and pricing perspective. There were a couple of things out there, as I can imagine, sort of the main ones. There was really one. Jeff was out there, and that was pretty much the only viable option at the moment at that point in time. But it wasn't that great at that point in time. So I just thought, okay, let me go and build some stuff. I have a technology background anyways, and I have a background in sort of finance and so forth. So, and I had done a lot of like data related things over the last 20 years. So I knew sort of the problem set, and so I could attack that problem set pretty easily. And so went off and started building Card Hedge, and sort of that's how it started. And really I needed some assistance primarily sort of 6 months into that, and that's when I met John online. I'm in I was in Houston at the time. I live in the Northwest now, but we met on the interwebs and started talking, and he had a lot of knowledge and was really interested in helping grow the site. So we decided to sort of partner up at that point, and sort of been that was sort of the genesis. You know, John knew Greg and some other people through the, you know, the card collecting community, and you know, we started growing, you know, in that route essentially, and we've just steadily grown both on the technology and on the sort of card and feature set side, and you know, we've been growing ever since. That's sort of the genesis, I guess.
Very good, very good. Yeah, yeah. Because we were talking a little bit offline here that yeah, when I first kind of got back in and kicked off the channel, I reached out to you and was part of your early affiliates, but I wasn't making enough content and I didn't use it that much at that point because I was not as active as I am now. So, but a tool
Yeah,
like that,
absolutely.
yeah. So, but a tool like this is just awesome, and I actually went back and reviewed it again today, and I mean, I looked at, I just toggled between highest in the last 30 days, 7 days, 14. And I mean, now you got raw cards, you got, just all kinds of different,
Yeah,
lots of data.
definitely
So,
been an evolution from the beginning, right? You sort of have to layer things on over time, and you know, we sort of try to get a feel for what the market is, and these guys are really good at, John and Greg and also Lou, at really understanding like what people want just by going out and sort of talking to the community in general, and getting a feel for like what really people are looking for when it comes to, you know, tools around cards and so forth. So
yeah, absolutely. JD, Greg, I mean, tell me a little bit about yourselves and your introduction to Card Hedger.
Yeah, you want me to go, Greg?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, I got back into the hobby literally the day Kobe Bryant died. Um, I don't know what, I was sitting on my couch and I got the alert Kobe died, and I said, for whatever reason, my first reaction was to go on eBay and buy a couple of his rookie cards. And I was back. I had been heavily involved collecting for a long, long time. Prior to that, I probably took a good 10-year hiatus, maybe not 10, but when my twins were born, I just decided at that time I needed to slow my roll a little bit and focus on being a dad. 4 kids later, I said, you know what, I need some me time, and here I am. But I've always kept cards. I've never gotten rid of a lot of the stuff that I valued. I have a lot of, I'm just looking around. I have a lot of autographed baseballs and things like that I've acquired over the years, that I keep and have kept, and stuff I've had literally since I was 9 years old. Still have, but I'm definitely how it all worked out with River and I. We were talking on Instagram, and he offered me a free account to do some, like, help him out a little bit, and freeze everybody's favorite price. So I was in, and then from there it was it transformed into, he was looking for some work, or some help, I should say, and I was like, dude, I'm in. You're gonna pay me to work with sports cards? Like, let's do this. Yeah,
Dream job,
I
huh?
was like, sweet. It certainly beats the 9 to 5 job, and it's natural for me. It's something I love to do, and it's been a very interesting process or experience for me on the business end. My background's in education. I work in public education, so coming into the private sector and the business side has been a learning experience for me, and I've appreciated it every step of the way. So that's me in a nutshell and how I got here.
Nice. Yeah. So, John and I knew each other from some Facebook groups. After, I guess, we had both gotten back into collecting, and we were part of a Facebook group that was pretty active. And then we ended up finding out that we lived like 20 minutes from each other. So that was funny, and we kind of started a side group, and just constantly stayed in contact, sharing like mail day pictures in the group and whatnot. After several months of him working with River, he had reached out to me, and I forget exactly what it was, but he mentioned something while we were talking one night, and I had mentioned that I would be highly interested in speaking with River and kind of seeing what they were doing, and so we did that, and I obviously both sides were cool with like what was going on, and we started, well, what was it, a year ago now, maybe, all of us, and
Yeah, probably about that.
yeah, right around there. And it's been lots of fun. It's been lots of just constant, like, to the point River made earlier about the evolution. It's just constant week after week, like little changes, little upgrades, little additions, another partnership, and from that aspect, and then just being able to see all the data and see the way that kind of the different sports move on season, off season. That's also been very interesting, as well, from the collector side of it.
Very cool. So River, maybe you could share, or maybe not. I don't know, but like, so what is the user base now for Card Hedge? I'm pretty sure you got a passive user base that's using it, and then where you
Yeah.
can do with the membership, paid membership as well. So where are you at on your numbers as far as that goes?
Yeah, I mean, we still have a pretty small user base. I mean, we have many thousands of people going to the site on a regular basis. A lot of that is driven now by, the public aspect of some of the pricing data that we've made available. So originally we just had a paid user side only. And we started growing, sort of like providing some free data for people so that they could check out the prices. And if you don't need all the features, you can see every card we have in the system now, 30 days of price history, for every grade, that we have loaded. And essentially we load every sale that comes from sort of the bigger sites at the moment. So you can get all that data for free. We get a ton of traffic focused on that, and then we have a smaller subset, I would say, right now, that's still growing quite quickly, but still relatively small on the consumer side, that are paying customers, but that's definitely growing. We had around 400% growth last year, and we've about doubled our user base in the first quarter here. And then we also work heavily on the enterprise side, so it's probably something most people don't see, but we have APIs to all of our data that allows enterprises that want to purchase data from us that's curated and aggregated and clean, and all the card metadata that they can get that from us. So we're building that side of the business very rapidly as well. So it's just sort of some of the stuff that you may not see as just a consumer side, but there's tons of businesses getting into cards and just alternative assets in general. And we're heavily focused on providing services to those people as well. So
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I came from a software background. Actually, recently, March 31st, I put in my notice a few weeks ago, and March 31st was
congrats.
my last day. So yeah, so
Nice.
now it's going all in. I got
Full time.
cubes and cubes of so I'm loading up eBay right now, and to get revenue going. Then I do shows and stuff too. So, but anyway,
Awesome.
so I understand the API in the end of that, and its importance, because I mean, there's always things you could do with the data. So that's pretty cool. So I guess I'd like to get kind of each one of you guys's like favorite features or ways that users can use it. I'm actually gonna share it. I'll put it up on screen here. Hold on. Let's see. I mean, I know I don't have an account, but you can just we can take a look at it. But what are your favorite features? And maybe some things that some users are unaware of that could make for a better user experience if they do use the site.
You want me to take
John, you
this?
want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a few, and I feel like I like, this is my home away from home. We just added in literally, I think last week, right, Riv? Like Thursday, Friday or something with the grading, the raw plus grading thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
that was last week. Yep.
we just added in a new feature where we've combined for on the so I don't think you can see it on the free side. Maybe you can, but if you can't, on the paying side, there will be a bubble now next to each grade. So if you have a John Morant, right, base prism, and what we've done is we've put next to all the PSA, all the SGC, BGS, CSG, the raw plus cost of grading initial investment right there for you to see.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah, that's very clever. Yeah.
And then it's kind of like a 2-part update that we're going to do. The second piece is a little more tricky, but that's not for my brain to figure out. That's for the big dog to work through. But we're hoping to add in some type of profit calculator that will allow you to see, like, all right, if I grade this Tiger Woods card at SGC and I hit a 10, I'm into it for, I'm just going to make up numbers. I'm into it for $30 to grade, plus the cards, I don't know, $20 raw right now. I'm not sure, but so I'm into it for 50. It's going for 300. What am I going to make? I'm going to net, $250 or whatever it is, right? So we're trying to do, like, that's a big feature to me because it's really important to understand the options that are out there in the hobby with the grading craze, right? I don't know how many groups you're in on Facebook, but I'm in quite a few, and it's like, you see, I only want PSA, I only want BGS, I only want SGC, I want this, I want that. Well, there's kind of a space for all of them, right? And
Right.
it's not really our job to educate people on that. It's our job, I feel, to show the options. And I think that's the first step and a big piece of that. Our second, I think, for me personally, that I like to use quite a bit is our compare feature, which allows you to compare 4 cards at a time across all the different grading companies. If you wanted to throw in raw, I like it when I do my own YouTube videos. To me, it gives you a pretty good idea. Like, there's no need to kind of beat around the bush. Everybody understands PSA stuff sells for way more than everybody else, right? We all get that. There's no whatever. But I think what is really interesting in the hobby right now, especially in the grading space, is sort of the evolution that's going on with SGC, BGS, CSG. Like, SGC took a lot of crap for their miscommunication a couple years ago, right? And it hurt them. It hurt them for a good 5, 6, 7 months, but they put their heads down, they busted their butts, and it's working. Their slab resale values are increasing every single day. The data's there. They're, outside of the stuff that's been already graded, I think, by BGS, talking like there's some big boy cards in BGS slabs.
Yeah.
But SGC has they're here, and they're not going anywhere. And I think that's important for people to understand. Like, listen, there are options, and you can take that a step further with CSG. Like, if people don't think that they're not going to be a major player in this space, they're out of their mind,
Exactly.
And then I think the third feature we added most recent, well, not most recently, but one of the more recent updates, we added in a historical sales search. So, right now we have 70,000+ cards in our database that we're tracking on every day. That's not even close to every card that was ever made, right? We all know that. We understand that. So we opened up this feature that allows people, like, let's say, JMac, you had a Christian McCaffrey black something that we didn't have. Well, you can go and use this feature, and if there's something if that card has sold, you're going to get an idea. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but you're going to get an idea of what that card sold for to help you kind of make a decision on, do I list this? Do I not? What do I do with it? And then obviously you can always make a request and add that card to the database pretty quickly. So those are the 3 that I think are really cool. There's obviously more I could spend another hour just talking about the site myself, but that's boring. But those are the 3 I think that are really useful. And I think this thing we're onto with the grade plus raw plus some of the other stuff we got coming, are going to be really kind of game changing for people. So
Yeah.
Before we transition, because I know you guys got favorite features too, but I wanted to jump in on the grading company talk too, because it's
Yeah.
just, I mean,
it's
hey man,
easy.
because
Yeah.
well, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys have like followed my whole story, but when PSA and BGS were 100, 150 bucks, I wasn't using them at all and refused to. So
Yeah.
I was using. I mean, I graded 1,000 cards with SGC over just the past year. You know what I mean? And I've sold most of them. I may have
Right.
100 or something left, and then quite a few in my PC. And I used CSG when they were $8 bulk. Tried them, and I got a feel for people didn't like the labels and blah blah blah. But and I thought they were just about, I knew they were very relevant as far as in all different grading
Mm-hmm.
categories, not sports cards. All they're the big dog in most categories
Right.
of collectibles, right? So I knew they were a real deal. But then I thought they were just about dead in the water, and then the label change and they already had the best slabs.
Yeah.
So I recently just sent back I sent 100 to bulk order to a CSG, and I sent in all my 9.5s to get 10s. So like that is TBD, to be determined on how CSG's new. But to me, kind of my take on it is, as we move forward with Fanatics, I think CSG might piggyback SGC. I mean, I've had great experiences with SGC, and I like them. But if SGC can't get to that bulk rate that's comparable to CSG, well, my thing is like, and you gotta find out if the market will embrace them. But if they can't get there, then CSG will be the go-to for lower end stuff. You know what I mean? That's just my take.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I've been sending lots to PSA now as well. Now when I can get them at $50, I'll send
Right.
the PSAs. I just
Right.
got a 40 order back yesterday. So I say that to say, I think, like you said, BGS also, I've sent 5 to BGS. They were bigger, like, thick stock cards.
Yep.
Every one of them has a role, and some people can't seem to differentiate that, in the hobby at sports card shows and stuff like that. They're like, ooh, this card, this.
Yeah.
See, I sell online and like you said, on groups and on eBay. And I mean, when you're going out to the masses of people, not the 100 people at a card show, that many just are kind of like in their own little mental place about the hobby. By and large, all of these companies have, those 4 are going to be players for sure. So I agree
Yep.
with that. And sorry going on a tangent, but you got my
Yeah,
wheels
my
spinning
bad.
there.
I do that, man. My bad.
Nice.
No, but it's right too. I mean, Jason, what you were saying is like they all have their own role, right? I mean, you're not gonna certain cards you're just not gonna send to PSA primarily because the value's not there or whatever. And you just have to understand where the value is and where to submit based on that. And I think our tool helps that, but obviously if you do a little research, John did a ton of research. I think it was last week, and shared it on his YouTube around the profitability. And if you just look at, if you're submitting and you're going to get some 10s, some 9.5s, and maybe some 9s, it starts to become very clear that there are certain companies, namely SGC and possibly CSG, that will really be, more valuable or, provide more value in those cases. Maybe not higher end, but medium,
like
for sure.
$10 to $75 cards, maybe,
Right.
raw value, those kinds.
Right.
That's
Yep.
what I think to send to SGC or now CSG.
And the big thing too,
Yeah.
like, again, not to keep going on this, but it's just, you can talk about it all day. The big thing, like, even for someone like yourself, right, who's now doing this full time is money. So if you don't get cards back, you can't sell them, right? So when you're doing this as your sole source of income, you need product. And right now SGC is dominating that. It's not even, not even close. I mean, unless you're paying huge money to get your card back from somebody else. But for the $23 a card, if you use a bulk submitter, you're getting your cards back in less than a month. I mean, it's really hard to beat that. And I'm okay with if I'm not getting 500 and I'm getting 250, 300. What do I care? I can get the same card again and do it again before someone else is even getting their card back. So,
yeah.
Mine isn't so much features as it is areas in which we are going into, and that would be sports related NFTs that we are currently tracking Top Shot and the MLB Candy, and we'll have the NFL All Day NFTs soon, and also spreading out into other alternative asset classes outside of just sports cards. So back to the point you made, JMac, on how CGC is big. Comics, toys, sports memorabilia, those areas as well. That's what I'm most excited about, is bringing in that on top of the sports cards. We just added some Pokemon. We just added the first set of Magic. So spreading out and staying true to, what our goal is, and bringing the most well-rounded data of collectibles in general. That's really what we're trying to do here. So that's what I'm most excited about going into and moving forward down this year here.
Yeah, those are great points, Greg. Yeah, absolutely. Since I mean, we have obviously a ton of stuff on our roadmap for growth of the company, just from a feature set and new products and stuff. But yeah, just some of my favorite things. I think one of the things that really differentiates us from everybody else is that we collect every single grade automatically. From a pricing perspective, there's literally no one out there that does that the way that we do. So if we set up a card in our system, we've been collecting prices for over 2 years now, and our system will go back and match all of those grades, and we'll basically have every single grade that's sold since we started acquiring that pricing data. So it's kind of different if you go to like you were looking at the Tiger card, which is had a ton of volume over the last couple of days, given the Masters and everything. It's actually like the top volume trading card over the last week, which is kind of crazy. But like that card has 25 grades or something crazy associated to it, and we've captured every single sale associated to that, and so we'll have every single grade. And every single price for that grade, which is pretty cool. So you can go through all the list of everything, and those are the grades that we actually have sales for. So it's pretty cool. Now some of them might not be in the last 30 days, but they'll be at some point in that time in history. You'll have that. At least for the graders that we capture. Obviously, we capture all the 4 majors right now. Some people probably have some different opinion on maybe HGA, but we do capture HGA prices, and we'll continue to do so, at least in the short term. Yeah,
I was just gonna say BGS 3.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, nobody wanted that, right? Like, that's funny. But yeah, so that's one of the major features. Like, nobody else does that, right? You'll see, maybe 1 or 2 grades available on a lot of the other sites. We'll always have all the grades that have been sold that we've been able to match, right? Obviously, there's some matching process. I won't go into the details of that, but essentially, like, making sure that we can attribute it to a specific card based on some auction that's come through. So that's one of the major ones. And then one of the other things that we do, I think, really well is we have the ability to just add cards very, very quickly. So we're growing the data library or database, I guess, whatever you want to call it, very, very quickly. We add about 5,000 cards a week right now. And that's just going to grow that sort of curated data like really, really quickly, so that we'll just have a much more robust database, so that when you go to search for cards, we'll have pretty much everything. And then we also have a feature, because one of the things, that there's like millions and millions of cards out there, right? There's always going to be potentially cards that might not be in the system. We have an extremely useful way for our customers to basically request a card. And then we generally turn those around very, very quickly within 24 to 48 hours. So not a lot of other people can do that, but the way that we have it structured allows us to, do that. And I think it's very helpful from a customer perspective, so that they can add these sort of less liquid cards that maybe they're not super high on our list to add, but if a customer wants it, they want it, and we want to provide that feature to customers, right? They want to add it to their portfolio or whatever. That's fine. We'll add it, and then our process will automatically go back in all the history and find all the prices associated with that have sold over the last 2 years. We have about 20 million prices in our database right now, just from that, acquiring data over that time period. And we're always adding data sources. One other thing, we are looking on, we are almost complete with our mobile app, which has sort of been from our perspective, a gap in sort of our functionality in general. Like, we have a mobile site that's really good, but we don't have a mobile app yet. We are like literally a month or two away from having that released. So we're pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, that'd be big, especially at shows and stuff like that.
Yep.
To have your phone, have it ready.
So much
That's
easier.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll kind of wind it down here. A couple more points that maybe you can touch on. So I'm sure, as you just said, with that much data, which is digital gold, I'm sure you get good insights into kind of the hobby, the pulse of the market, different areas that are hot, cold, etc. What's your current state of the market that you can see from data that you're looking at, and areas that are much hotter than others? I'm sure people would enjoy that,
So I can. Prices are down. I'm not gonna. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Things are down since March. Obviously guys like Wander Franco are red hot. Julio Rodriguez, red hot in baseball. But some of the big dogs, like I've got some nice Michael Jordan cards. They're down quite a bit. I'm still up on them over the long term from when I bought them. But one thing I've noticed, and it's sort of led me into this area, but football cards are crazy. It's very interesting. And for me with football, like, the big thing, I know it's quarterback heavy, and I totally understand that, but I like the wideouts and the running backs. And if these guys don't catch the ball, the quarterbacks aren't worth crap. So you kind of need a stud wideout. So I've been really high on Deebo Samuel. His prices are really strong. Jamar Chase is obviously really strong. I've noticed over the last year or so, hockey has really started to strengthen itself. I'm a big hockey collector, but I think basketball, basketball is always going to be that spot in the sort of the hobby where there's a lot of action, but there's a ton of action in football that I never really realized and understood until the last few months. But I kind of just, me specifically, what I've seen, what I've watched with my portfolio, things are down. And not everything, but some of my bigger cards are down, and that kind of hurts a little bit, especially I was going to go sell one of them. But overall, the prospecting piece with the Bowman Chromes, some like a red Volpe first Bowman auto just sold for like $150K. So clearly the high end stuff is super strong. But it's one of those things where you gotta do your homework, and you gotta be ready to rock if you're prospecting in baseball, if you're whatever you're doing in football, and I think my buddy Bobbles made a great point the other day in one of his videos. When the guy's red hot, it's not the time to start. Oh, I'm gonna hop in on this guy. That's not the time. But that's the market is always predicting it or trying to give advice on it is hard when it's a slippery slope, right? So you got to let the data do the talking for you. I think one thing I failed to mention earlier was we just added in player indexes too, and that gives you a really strong sense of what the Michael Jordan card market is, what this guy's market is. And Jordan's going to remain strong for forever. I mean, sure, will the prices come down? Sure, maybe. Will they go back up? Sure, maybe. I don't know. But overall, I think the market it's in an interesting spot. it's in an interesting
Yeah.
spot. I think.
Yeah. I was
You
I
know?
was just curious about some insights from it because I like River. I come from an investing background too,
Yep.
so like to me, when things like that, when the market gets a little bit soft, where some people, maybe who don't understand sort of longer term scenarios, they
Sure.
get scared off, or sell off, or something like that. Where
Yeah,
it's opportunities,
Yep.
but
for
not
sure.
in
I
all
mean, I
cases.
think
Go ahead.
the it's interesting, the volumes. Like, I mean, I always find the liquidity side really interesting. Like, there's you see, we know that baseball is going to be popular right now given the season just started, so obviously you have massive amount of volume on the baseball side. But I thought it was really interesting, like in a 3-day span, you have a card like like the Tiger card that goes from like maybe a top 50 volume card on a regular basis to being like the #1 card sold within like 3 days. Like, nobody even knew that he was going to show up to the Masters. All of a sudden he shows up to the Masters, and like that card, not really price wise, but people found liquidity. Like, people were buying it, and so people could sell it, right? Like, I mean, that's also a piece of this, is like, okay, you have buyers now because of the news on the Tiger side, and you can see that through our site, which is really, I find, super interesting. Just obviously prices follow news in a lot of cases, so sometimes you're seeing stuff after the fact, which is it's just as valuable, so that you can sort of see and understand what the market predictors that influence those prices are, and influence volume. Definitely, obviously the market's down, and I don't know. I think it's sort of just it's one of those things from a sort of cyclical type of thing. Like, you have these, people just assume when market's down, like, you get a lot of negative perspective on, the trends that came through in 2020, so forth, and what that did for the market. But like, you see, things don't go straight up, right? And they also don't go straight down. They generally go in sort of these ebbs and flows over time, and you'll see that over a longer period of time with sports cards, or trading cards in general. And I don't see anything different than that. I just see the prices will fluctuate. You'll have inflows of people into the market, which I don't see that going away. I know, I think, will economics, like, will there be, and this is probably more in depth than we need to go, but like, there's obviously economic issues that will cause less people to be able to spend money in the card market, and those are big factors. So I definitely see this trend that we're in now as part of a like larger economic trend of people spending less money in places where they might they would normally spend, because funds are lower, they have to spend money on gas and all these other things. And especially in a market like this, which is all sort of heavily influenced by consumers with extra money, versus like it's a primary focus, something they need to have, right? So and then just a general downturn from just the way the market went, since the massive boom, right? So, I mean, if you look longer term, I think if you look back, I always say zoom out, right? It's like, if you look back in 2018, 17, 16, you're going to see like that. If you looked at the prices now, I think you would say that they're probably pretty reasonable. So it's interesting to see those sort of movements, though.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we'll kind of wind it down, and on closing thoughts. And I mean, anyone could chime in, and anything that you maybe thought we missed, or something you wanted to talk about real quick before we close out. About the hobby, about the app, anything. So.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say thanks. I appreciate you having us on. We're super excited about where we're going from a product perspective. The product's growing faster now than it ever has, both from a feature perspective and a data perspective. So it's only going to get better from here. And we have some super, big stuff coming out with the mobile app and new features. And, we're heavily focused on new aspects of trading cards. So both in all the other genres, non-sports and sports, and obviously the Fanatics thing's going to shake stuff up a little bit. So we're all super excited about all that.
Okay.
I think for me, closing up, man, I think the big thing for people is if they give Card Hedge a shot. understand that, yes, not every card is going to be there, but if it's a card that you'd like to add, just hit the request button and we'll get to it. We're moving as fast as we can, but we will get you that. Trust me, we'll get it. I appreciate you taking the time to have us on. This is really cool. So thank you very much, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off that. I appreciate you taking the time to have us on, allow us to share what we're doing, and that's just been the fun part about it with River and John, is just not staying stagnant, literally like messaging each other all day, every day, coming up with more ideas, coming up with more platforms we can reach out to get more data. So there's never a quiet day. It's always fun, and I know that will be the way that we continue to build into the future.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. I'll include the link to Card Hedger down in the video description below. You can go check it out. And like I said, there's a free portion of the app and site. So go check it out, play around with it. And thanks, guys, for coming on. And hopefully we can stay in touch and maybe follow back up once the app goes live. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, reach out anytime.
Sounds great, guys. All right. Y'all have a good one. Thanks, everyone, for joining. That's all we got. Deuces.
Thank you.